Okay, now I'll be basically giving again some very introductory, information about business continuity management. That is very hot topic nowadays, and also thus within the scope of Timbers project. So the whole idea is you have seen, many of the disruptions happening in many businesses due to some earthquakes, floods, or due to other incidents, and the whole idea is to ensure that your business process it should never fail. It should still be running, whatever happens. So in this presentation, I will talk about business continuity management as a general, the conceptual definitions. Then I'll talk about business continuity management life cycle. What are the different phases there? Then business continuity management planning. So how do we plan, once we start to have that in our organization? Then defining the scope of business continuity management. Do you want to do business continuity management for all our organization, or for some particular location, or for some particular business, or for some particular organizational unit? Then I'll talk about, again, it's a new concept still, in the people are gradually adopting that. So how basically, we can do efforts to align that with the organizational main strategy goals. Then I'll talk about business impact analysis, which is again looking into, what are the different risks and what are the impacts that we need to capture. And then business continuity plan, that is something, plan you define for your organization in the end of all this business continuity management. And then in the end, how do we do that in a different way in Timbers? How do we provide, novelty again in this field? So this, you just see some of the incidents that have recently happened in the world. For example, there you see the Japan, earthquakes and tsunami that happened in Japan. Even SAP office itself was closed in Tokyo. And we really needed to move to Osaka for a couple of days. So we were really unoperational for a couple of days here. And then this was ash cloud thing in Europe. So you can see the, before and after what happened in the skies. So literally, the whole flying was literally to halt. And then, again, some other incident when the conveyor belts when Heathrow, they opened up Terminal 5. What happened, due to their systems not running properly, and there were queues and people were really, struggling. And this is also last year in Heathrow when there was unusual snowfall, and Heathrow was also closed down for 5 days. So a huge amount of, loss for the BAA, which is running the Heathrow airport. Okay, this slide shows, some of the concrete figures from some of the, big names that they have incurred losses due to becoming unoperational. So I will not go into the details. You will have the information on your slides, So whole idea is when your business is disrupted, you have to pay in terms of financial, in terms of legal, or in terms of compliance consequences, So business continuity management is not a completely new field. It is, basically coming up, evolving from IT and disaster recovery. And the whole idea of business continuity management is to identify vulnerabilities. It's about identifying information which is needed for risk management. So the whole idea in business continuity management is everything is generalized as something becomes unavailable. And now what do we need to do, to make sure that our business is not disrupted? This is again, some definition from the Business Continuity Management Institute. So it is a holistic management process that identifies potential threats to an organization and the impacts to business operations if realized might cause. And it provides a framework for building resilient organizations. So it means that disruptions happen, but still you are continuing running. This slide shows, very typical business landscape, in any organization. Basically, on the top, you could have finance, or you could have planning, or you could have research, whatever, business unit you're talking about. And then you have directly associated physical resources. People are normally working against different activities in some, particular organizational unit, and people use different software, services, data. They touch also different databases when they're updating data or whatever. And then in the end, we have resources like electricity, buildings where the staff are located. Then we're talking about, if you're talking about supply chain management, we're talking about transportation. So in short, very complex picture. A lot of interdependencies between various resources at different levels. Business continuity management is all about basically capturing this dependency, looking into a risk associated with each of these different levels, resources, and how do we come up with some continuity solutions. So as I said, business continuity management is about ensuring continuity for critical business processes during crisis. So you could be an organization where you have hundreds of different business processes, right? And all of this, business continuity management, it comes with a price tag. You don't want to do it for all your business processes, yeah? When, for example, SAP is using a portal, it's portal that is where we are doing all requests, within an organization. So sometimes, some essential critical services stop running. So still we have a continuity plan in place where some of the portal services are still running in order to make sure that day-to-day business is still, continuing. It's not like people are sitting and idle. So the whole idea is some, limited functionality is still there. So you're not completely, sitting idle then or your staff. So again, in terms of crisis, terrorist attack, natural disaster, businesses need to continue. If they are not continuing, they are losing money. So the whole idea is just, continuity here. This slide shows business continuity management life cycle. So as you can see, this is sort of, again, closed loop type of thing. So you start always when you plan to adopt business continuity management. The first step is always, looking into organization, understanding the organization, then determining BCM strategy. I will come to further details about these. Then developing and implementing business continuity management response, and then exercising, maintaining, and reviewing, which is again, looking into updating the policies, and then back to the organization, understanding, which means organization is evolving, it is changing. So understanding the organization means basically risk assessment. Each organization, each particular business domain comes with their own risks. So we have to really understand what are the particular specific risks for that type of organization. And then doing business impact analysis, which means if this, for example, this projector is not running, what is the impact coming to this conference now, yeah? So these type of things. So business continuity management strategies. So here we are talking about organizational, we are talking about business processes running within an organization, we are talking about resources, assets that are needed for activities within an organization. We have to look into basically all of them and looking into return time objective for them. For example, I am a resource working in SAP research. If I'm not coming for 1 day, this is okay maybe for the company. If I'm not coming for 5 days, this could also be okay. But if I don't come for 1 month, this is not okay for the company. This might disrupt some of the operations in the company. So the whole idea is looking into return time objectives for each of the resources that is involved in our organization. If electricity goes away now, if it comes back in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it's okay. I think we can still continue. But if it does not come for the next 4 hours, we are completely disrupted here, yeah? Okay, then we have business continuity development, developing of business continuity plans, where we are looking into resource assignments, what are the resources needed for different activities, and then what are the resource recovery and solution plans we need to think about. For example, I become sick, I become unavailable, maybe my company needs to employ another person, or get somebody from some other department for some short time period when I'm not available. Then exercising maintenance and audit, which means basically BCM exercise. You have to organize also exercises once you have the business continuity management plans in place. So the whole idea is assessing BCM arrangements. So I have made, instead of 1 laptop, I have 2 laptops or 3 laptops. Instead of 1 database, I have 3 databases. Instead of 1 server, I have 3 servers. So I have to assess, if these are okay for me, or still I need to organize more, or these are too many, I need to optimize here. And then in the end, embedding a BCM culture, which is extremely important. That's all about creating awareness, training, and culture. Understanding the culture of the organization, and really like we do for the DP, aligning with the organizational strategy. So as I said, business continuity management, the critical difference is availability. Availability is the focus here in this area. So the plan is based on all hazards approach, which means that it should be applicable to any disaster and consider generic unavailability. So rather than preparing for specific disasters, the efforts are focused on the mitigation of impacts. So here we are looking into, as I showed you the previous picture, unavailability of infrastructure, unavailability of people, unavailability of facilities, like offices, due to fire, they become unavailable. Unavailability of third-party services, I am dependent on some third party, they become unavailable. So we are looking into that perspective here. So as I said, it is relevant to all departments or to all organizational units which are offering critical services in an organization. So critical process service owners should develop and maintain business continuity plans. So within, for example, SAP, my organization, all the process owners which are dealing with critical processes, they are supposed to have a business continuity plan in place. If they don't have, they have trouble. And the whole idea is that critical systems and landscapes must have sufficient redundancy measures so that they can sustain satisfactory operations during the disaster. So redundancy is also very important here. So critical processes data must be stored and processed securely and must be backed up or mirrored on regular basis. So here basically digital preservation also comes as some solution. So this shows basically how do we drive business continuity management within our organization. So first we have a business continuity management policy, then we align with the organization strategy, objective, and the culture. Then we decide the scope of the program, which I will tell you in the next slide how we do that. And then in the end, we have the business continuity management policy in place. So when I say alignment with the organization, it means that really, we are talking about CEOs. They should have interest in the project. Yeah, you cannot drive some project if they are not interested in that. There should be some proper allocation of budget, all this thing. Then there has to be some, business continuity management program manager properly, hired, and that comes basically at the technical level of an organization. Then within all business processes or organizational units, you need to have one person who is playing the role of coordinator. Okay, when we talk about scope, so if you think about any organization, they normally have some products or services, and they have locations. And the whole idea is they might not be interested. Not all products are making money for them. Some of the products, they might not be making money for them, or some of the services, they are not maybe, they are not generating revenue for them. They are not critical. The whole idea of scope is really looking into, okay, these are the critical services products. If they stop functioning, if we stop, delivering them, then I will be out of the business. I will lose a lot of money. So scope is all about defining, okay, basically narrowing the scope of business continuity management plan. Here you do high-level business impact analysis. For example, I am a company like, Colgate. I sell, some Colgate-sensitive toothpaste. And this is high-sell product, right? And if I say, okay, this Colgate-sensitive, I need to bring that into, if I'm not selling that, what is the financial impact? So you do a very high-level impact very quickly to define the scope. But I will go into later slides, how do you find, business impact analysis process. So here again, you see, some organization, it is doing different activities, producing different products. So the whole idea is that you identify, what is the critical product or service which is crucial for your business to survive, and then you bring that in the scope first of business continuity management.